Hello and welcome to the KAA show, KAA's first ever podcast to launch KAA DNA. I'm joined by two very special guests. The first guest is Jerel. Now Jerel was a founding student at KAA. He was here before the school even existed. He walked in when the school was empty and he was the first ever year group. I'm also joined by Sina, who joined just as Jerel was leaving. So we get two different perspectives on the school, their experience and how they use the core values to get through school and possibly life after. Hi guys. Right, now down to business. So Jerel, you came in 2014, okay? And you walked in the building, you just come from primary school, it was a brand new school. It used to be a community centre and now it's replaced by this brand new school. You're the first ever founding year group. You're Jerel, you're 11 years old. Describe the sort of kid you were whilst you were here.
Well, the kid I was when I was here. Boy, I like...
The honest answer, because I know what you were like.
I had my good days and I had my bad days. Like, I felt like I was very true to myself and like what I was doing and stuff. But I was very cheeky, I was very troublesome. Like, I'd always try and get on the teacher's side if I did something bad. Like, try to tell them not to call my dad or like my parents, because like if I've done something bad. Like to just play football on the Muga.
Yeah.
Is that still there?
Yeah, still there.
Yeah, got the playing football on the Muga, like overstay my welcome, like But a lot of the time, I'd say the teacher would say I was a good student.
Yeah, I think there was two sides to Jerel. Yeah. I'd say there was the Jerel who was very studious and focused, and then there's that side that was a bit cheeky, a bit naughty, but you knew when to cut it off.
Yeah, and I feel like a big part of me was very invested into actually the house system. So a lot of the time, I was in Franklin. So a lot of the time,
to hear that.
Best house. But a lot of the time, I was very.
You just
invested.
Lost half your audience.
I hope not. Well, yeah, I was very invested into the house system and stuff like that. So I was actually sports captain. I think I was house captain maybe, and I just worked my way up. I was doing like house drama, sports days, house music. I was involved in all the house competitions and it was genuinely fun. Like, it was genuinely fun, like a good way to like sometimes get out of lessons. So now, like, honestly, like, it's true. Like,
next week everyone will be out of lessons.
Yeah, like, a good way to get out of lessons, like just explore different parts of the school and the performance art side of school.
Yeah, no, you were good, and there was definitely a maturity as you grew older. You matured. So I think you made a really good point there about the house system, throwing yourself into things, because I think sometimes people think they don't want to take part in something because they're not good at it, or they don't want to hang out at school because they've got things to do. Yeah. But actually, when you throw yourself into these house competitions, they're actually really fun, and there's a sort of team spirit around.
I'm gonna definitely say like sports day kind of helped me gain confidence.
Well, Sports Day, did you know that 10 years later, you still have the record for the fastest 100 metre?
No way!
A decade later, you still have that record. No one's beat that in a decade.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to know.
When did you make that? Was that year 10?
Maybe like, year 10.
Year 9 or 10, yeah.
Year 10.
I feel like a lot of students are embarrassed to do house competitions as well. I feel like they're scared because... what are their friends gonna say when they're performing on stage? But I feel like, again, resilience. Get yourself on stage, join a house competition, and it will definitely build your confidence. Yeah.
It's almost like you don't want to leave school with just your GCSEs. You want to leave with GCSEs and house debating, house drama, house dance, house music, sports day. You want to sort of build all that. So get all the opportunities you can while you're here. Exactly. So Jerel, you were sort of this ordinary sort of teenager, 11, 12 years old, and you start in this school, and you got everything's new. First ever time of doing something, everything was new, and as you grew older, you sort of matured, and then other things sort of were thrown your way. We had you had just when you thought sort of it was a normal school, we're then hit with an awful tragedy, which impacted the school and the community around it. Which was of course Grenfell, which was an awful, horrendous time for all of us who were here, but even if we were watching on the news, it was terrible. So you're this young boy who's sort of cheeky, chappy, a bit naughty, but also quite focused, and then you've got to grow up quite quickly.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it tames you a lot to see something like that. It's very visual. Like it's a lot. Like, and you're always reminded of it. Like always reminded of it. And then at times, like when you're like that and you're like always having confrontation with teachers and you're being a bit naughty, and sometimes you actually realise like even though it's hard for you, it's also very hard for them.
Yeah.
Like there's certain teachers that taught certain students that actually unfortunately passed away in the fire. So when you're at that age, sometimes you actually pick up on those things.
One of the hardest things for me at the time was we were trying to maintain normality.
Yeah.
We were trying to still have lessons, have detention, and we were trying to keep everything normal, distract, and keep it. But behind the scenes, we knew that the kids and the staff and everyone was just really suffering. It was a really challenging time, and I noticed from the students that after that there was like a sort of a sense that we all shared something, and there was a maturity that a lot of students then found. And then I really truly believe, like without sort of talking about the core values, but actually resilience was really put to the test.
No, definitely.
We spoke about resilience year on year.
Definitely.
But for them to actually really put it to the test.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like when that moment happened, and like I feel like the pin dropped for like the kids to actually like definitely step up and be a lot more resilient. Like if you ain't been resilient, like that was the time to be resilient. Like actually showing your face every single day, like being in a class when you're noticing like a person's missing, like generally like they're gone. Yeah. And unfortunately they might never ever come back. Yeah. Like, and just having to be courageous to just get through it and just to see another day is very challenging. But that's definitely something that was taught from us from when we first walked through those doors.
I mean, the fact that you still were all able to do your GCSEs and the fact that a lot of you went on to be so successful, I really think that, you know, I've got so much admiration for all of you to get through that and then see the other side. But yeah. So, gosh, that is a lot. You know, you moved from school to school. You're doing your GCSEs. You're the founding year group, and I can't imagine being a young person what it was like at the time. But then you then get through that. Yeah. And then you go on to be a successful athlete.
So now I'm a full-time athlete, British sprinter for the 100 and 200 metres.
Wow.
And I'm doing that full-time.
So you are a full-time athlete right now. And you say you're representing Britain?
Yeah, Great Britain.
That's amazing. Yeah. That is amazing. I mean, that's incredible, Jerel. Like, really is incredible. So how did you do it? What motivated you? What inspired you? How did you maintain that focus despite everything around you falling apart?
For me, I'll definitely say like a big part of it was knowing I had a lot of talent, and like obviously the support system from the school helped a lot. But I felt like at that time there was a lot of unity within the community. So like it kind of made me want to establish myself and then one day be able to give back. Because one thing I was taught from a very young age is never forget your roots, never forget that where you're actually from. And the part of my life was actually started here. So I do feel like having to give back to my local community is something I wanted to do. So that was definitely a big part of my ambition into getting me where I am today.
I mean, that's amazing. And how do you feel like, in particular, if we look at the core values, you know, how would you say that sort of your resilience improved being here? Like, how did it prepare you? What was the resilience that sort of learned to?
Like, it's not easy, like obviously like bouncing around, like going from this school and then going to the next school and then having to go to BDA for 10 days and so it was never easy, but like having to just being able to just get up every day and just genuinely just not giving up. Like no matter how hard it actually gets, it's like you have to understand like the purpose of everything.
And what if, I mean, teachers say that a lot, you know, sort of focus. But what if, you know, you're a child who's got quite a tough life at home, you're getting detentions all the time, you don't like your teachers, you know, what are some actual practical things? Think about resilience. What practical things can these students take?
I mean, like, obviously stuff like that is hard, but I feel like there's a good support system in the school. There's so many people you can speak to in the school about certain things that you want to do outside of school, what your plans and ambitions are outside of school, what you want to become, and I'm sure being resilient requires you to actually step out your comfort zone sometimes and actually ask daunting questions, like those things, like I don't know what I genuinely want to do, because some people might not know what they actually want to do and they might feel afraid to ask those questions.
With regards to you, Jerel, like the journey you've been on, you know, you came to a school that didn't used to exist.
Yeah.
You were part of the founding year group.
Yeah.
You got through Grenfell. You had, which was huge. People forget how massive that really was. You came back to school. You completed your GCSEs. You know, you weren't an angel all the time. You got detentions.
Yeah.
I remember. But you got detentions. You got told off. But what you did is you focused on what you wanted to achieve. You left here, and now you're a professional athlete, and it's a huge success story. And it's so good to have you back here. So thank you for coming back today. Sina, we haven't forgotten you, but I wanted to make sure we spoke to Jerel because he was here for a very unique period of time. So Jerel leaves, and then you arrive. So you're sort of, because school opened 10 years ago, you started about 5 years ago, right? So talk to me about a different period of time. So you were here during, just when we thought everything was calm.
Yeah.
We're then hit by COVID, right? So talk to us, how did it work, COVID at KAA?
It was chaotic to begin with. There was a lot of in school, out of school, in school, online learning, but I feel like the school built such a good system, but there were still struggles, like being at home without your friends. It wasn't nice.
Wasn't nice, no.
It wasn't nice being stuck at home, not being able to go outside, but we fought for it, and I think it was a good learning curve. I think we learned a lot from that period as well.
Yeah. I think people underestimate the impact that COVID had.
Definitely.
You know, people living in houses with loads of siblings, lack of technology in some households, the lack of friendship groups, all these things. I mean, and now you're in year 12.
Yeah.
So do you feel like there was a sort of a gap? Do you feel like you recovered from that? Or, I mean, talk to me about it a bit more.
Yeah, we recovered, but you do lose a lot. I think my secondary school experience went a lot quicker because of it, because we spent a year and a half at home. And it's like you lose so much of your secondary school experience, and it's a shame, but it's what it is.
So linking it back, because the purpose of these podcasts, they're going to carry on. We're going to do loads of them.
Yeah.
But the purpose of the launch of this podcast is that we're looking at the KAA DNA, and we're looking at our core values again, because actually it's easy for us to say, excellent citizen, creativity, it's all those things over and over again, but actually it's to live and breathe them.
Yeah.
I think Jurel's an example of actually living and breathing resilience, and I think you're an example in your year group, and everyone went through COVID, as an example of living and breathing resilience. So as a person, what have you taken from that awful experience? How do you use resilience now to motivate you now or move forward, if at all?
Resilience has allowed us to get up again. It's allowed us to gain a sense of independence, because like you said before, once you leave school, you don't have that support system anymore. And I think KAA sort of breeds these core values into us, so that actually when we leave, without that school system, we can still thrive in the future.
So both of you are from the local area.
Yeah.
You're both community guys. You know the area really well. Looking at year 7 now, what would you say, in all honesty, that you've learned, and as a person through COVID, through your experience here, what would you say to them? What sort of advice would you pass on?
Of course, you want to have fun. You're young, but I think there are so many things that we prioritize over our education, and I think when I look back, I'm sort of like, why? Like, why didn't you just sort of put all that to the side? The friends, the drama, it's a part of school, but our education is why we're here. And I think, I don't know.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good stuff. Putting you on the spot there, but So we're gonna wrap up the interview because and first ever KAA show, which is exciting time for me also to be returning because I've come back recently. I took a 5-year gap from KAA and I've sort of come back and it's weird, a bit like you, Jerel, walking around thinking you don't know any staff, don't know any students. But when I was speaking to Ms. Vine about setting this up, it's because we really want to speak to people about these core values, but how they actually put them into real life. And both of you are shining examples of people that have taken these core values, specifically resilience for now, and acted upon them and actually made you where you are today. So is there any final words that you would like to say? This is being watched by thousands of people, YouTube, millions of views and subscribers. Do you have any final things you'd like to say to our audience today?
Enjoy your time at school,
Yeah,
because it only gets harder from when you leave outside of school. Like, trust me, there's a lot of responsibilities, but definitely have fun, and yeah, utilize everything you've got in school, maximize your time, and then yeah.
Makes sense. So have fun, enjoy it, stay focused, and
full steam ahead, man.
Full steam ahead.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Full steam
man.
ahead.
I'm old. Looking at you, how old are you now?
21.
21.
Yeah.
So how do you feel?
I feel old, but the good thing is I've still got the looks. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and tune in next week for episode 2 of the KAA show.